in 2013, and what a night for Lee Breer's 35th birthday last week. Injured in the 17-all draw at Wigan in February. He missed 13, but he's back to pull the strings tonight. Steve-O, a packed house, two great sides, fantastic.
Sure is, Eddie. We've been waiting a long time for this, and this is all the fans in Super League. They feel that this could very well be the lineup when it comes to the grand final at Old Trafford. Warrington versus Wigan, it's always very, very special. Paul Cullen made it quite clear that when it comes to taking on the mighty Wigan, Warrington live their game. Interesting, Wigan led tonight by this fella Sam Tompkins. He will be the skipper, and I'm sure that Sean Wayne realises that he will have to bring Sam Tompkins a little bit more into the attack, maybe not running so wide out in the centres like he normally does from that full-back position, but I think he needs someone to ask the questions against this Warrington defence. The Wolves, they'll start hot favourites tonight.
Ratchford gets us underway, a crackling atmosphere and a high-hanging kick-off. Underneath it was Matty Smith, and look at the chase from Warrington from the kick-off. Lee Mossop could hardly blink, could hardly breathe, and Warrington were on him. Here comes Harrison Hansen now.
Well, the opening seconds, in fact the opening minutes, there's nowhere to hide on this ground. Look at them hunting them out. They're out of the blocks very quickly at the Warrington side. They want to put their present felt. Interesting, Wigan are trying to get it out wide. Boy, that's good tactics, perhaps, by Sean Wayne. Doesn't want to get into an arm wrestle with the forwards.
Liam Farrell plays the ball to Logan Tompkins. It's a night that is not for the faint-hearted. Greg Burke driving it in for Wigan. That was the last tackle. Here's the kick, charged down by Matty Smith, gobbled up by Sam Tompkins. 6 to go for Wigan.
And Warrington do that more than any other team. Pressure on the kicker, a charge down. It's not an accident. They simply practice and practice and practice. Great opening set from both sides, apart from the kick preparation from Matty Smith. Wigan will have to be a little bit better on that. They got the fortunate bounce back. They did retain possession, but they'll have to be a bit sharper on the kicking game to trouble the Wolves.
Sam Powell got Sam Tompkins away, but Ratchford and Ben Westwood saw to it that he wasn't going anywhere. That's Logan Tompkins, quick hands from Farrell. And very well held on to by Gelling, but very well watched by Ratchford and Monaghan. Here is Tompkins jinking away from Hyam, gets the kick in. Oh, it's a cracker, and Hodgson cannot get out of jail, and Wigan are going to get their third consecutive set of 6.
Well, I said it before the game started, Sean Wayne, the Wigan coach, would utilise Sam Tompkins. He'd put him into the attacking role, and he certainly put him popped up at the right moment. And look at that defence. Boy, this is going to be a cracker.
Great recovery from Wigan. Superb little kick from Tompkins, and Wigan begin to build pressure.
Well, Wigan know they have an awful record on this ground. They've only lost twice, though, all year, at Huddersfield in February and against Leeds in March. They're on a fantastic run of form, the Wigan Warriors, but so too are the Warrington Wolves. They've won 8 of their last 9. Their only slip-up coming here against Hull last month, and since that defeat, they've scored 35 tries and run in 198 points in 3 games that have followed. This, though, is their ultimate test, and here is Tompkins. And Ratchford got to him.
Good work again by young Sam Powell. He's utilising the centres, utilising them as a dummy run, and you can see that Tompkins are lining in. That's a big mistake. That will be the knock-on. And look at this Warrington side congratulating each other. Put the pressure on. It wasn't the best for Matty Smith to try. It was well behind him. But look at Myler saying, come on, we've got it, we've got... Yeah, he likes it.
Well, they've had 3 minutes of intense pressure coming at them, and they have survived, Warrington.
I think the last thing Matty Smith wanted to do then on catching that ball was turn around. The entire Warrington defence line was coming at him, and the pass simply wasn't good enough at this standard.
Well, we've seen what Warrington can do in defence. What now can they do in attack? Here is Chris Riley, and Daryl Goulding got to him from the marker position and they force him back.
Good work as well by the centre, Goulding. Boy, both these sides realise how important it is. They need those 2 points and they are really searching into each other.
One of the most impressive aspects of Wigan's performance earlier in the season when they played Warrington was Daryl Goulding, the number 3 for the Warriors on this side of the field. How he coped with Ryan Atkins, who many people expected to overpower him. You just saw him then early in the game get up quickly on one of the most powerful and dynamic players in the competition. These two guys at the bottom of your screen, Atkins and Goulding, massive battle between those two tonight.
Here is Breers with the kick, and that's over the heads of everybody, but a horrible bounce for Tompkins, but he dealt with it. Brilliant bounce for Warrington.
But that's the type of kick that you can get from Lee Breers. You can see the backspin on it. That's the reason why it hit the ground terra firma and then bounced back into the field of play. But boy, this is ferocious. Look how he gets that backward spin on it.
Here's Harrison Hansen now.
Oh, Cantonelli.
What a tackle on Tompkins by Paul Wood.
And Paul Wood wouldn't have slept all week waiting for this one to come around.
Boy, this is one big hit. Everything legal. Tough. Uncompromising. Good work by Crosby.
Tompkins okay. He really got clattered by Wood. This is Logan Tompkins. He comes back and the kick goes in right down the middle and straight down the throat of Brett Hodgson. And Hodgson now will try and work this ball forward for Warrington. Oh, there was a bit of a swinging arm there, and he's pushed back.
And there was very nearly another charge down on that kick then that Wigan put in.
This is where Warrington is so smart. They utilise this fella all the time. Ratchford, when they get closer within 20 metres of their own goal line, you'll see Ratchford jump into the dummy half, quick play the ball. He made good ground there.
Monaghan plays the ball to Mickey Hyam. Here is Chris Hill. He goes head-to-head with Dom Crosby and Greg Burke, and here's the first penalty of the match. Hill trying to get up and play the ball, and the Wigan pair would not let him get to his feet and play it properly.
It had to come. Tony Smith has got them. Get it up, play the ball quickly. You could see quite clearly that Chris Hill had no chance of doing that. A lot of pressure.
Well, so far, Wigan have come up with 3 errors. There's been a poor kick, a poor pass, and a penalty. But the Wigan club can do this better than anyone else. They can absorb pressure. They're going to have to now, because they're defending their own try line against the Warrington Wolves.
Hyam scampers away from dummy half. He finds Breers. Breers finds Hodgson. Oh, and that was an important tackle by Powell. Sam Tompkins in quickly as well. Here is Breers again. Breers then to Myler in centre field. Myler jinks inside a couple, gets the ball away to Wood, and Paul Wood looks full of it.
Yeah, what a game Wood's having. Putting himself about. Surely he'll play just for the first 20 minutes. They've got the overlap.
They've got the try from Ben Westwood. Oh, have they? Phil Bentham will hand this one upstairs.
Check the obstruction, please, Ian.
He wants to check for an obstruction. And so this is a decision for Ian Smith. And also, of course, we've got Stuart Cummings here.
Great play, Mickey Hyam. You can see the runner, Chris Hill, he's certainly gone into. It's Logan Tompkins. The big fella certainly has made contact, but look how he just sucks in Sam Powell and Westwood, who struggled for ages to get that vital try. Nothing wrong with the ground in. Ian Smith, over to you. Certainly makes contact with Logan Tompkins here.
Let's have a word with Stuart Cummings.
Well, the contact's well away from where the pass has gone. Although there's contact with the player, it's on the inside shoulder, and there's a lot of depth on the pass, so does it actually affect the play? I don't think it does. I think that's a try.
And I think Ian Smith agrees with you, Stuart, because we've just seen the grounding. And is this a golden moment for Ben Westwood and a golden moment for Warrington? Yes, it is. 5th try in 3 matches for Ben Westwood. He drew blanks every week from round 1. And Ben Westwood gets the scoreboard ticking here at the Hannibal Jones Stadium.
It all came about by the silly penalty, hanging on to Chris Hill. It got him another 35 metres downfield, but it's It's the way that Warrington are playing the ball so quickly. And that was great work by the hooker, Mickey Hyam. You just create the half of space, and Westwood, his power, sends him over. But the beautiful delayed pass from Lee Briers, sensational.
Well, Hodgson is kicking, which is a surprise in some quarters because Ratchford has kicked 10 goals in his last 2 matches. But Hodgson is pretty good with the boot. 51 goals so far this season. Make that 52. And Warrington have a 6-point lead. And Ben Westwood in his testimonial year. And his next big event is at the Grappenhall Cricket Club. It's a cricket match on the 30th of July.
Well, he's just hit the 6, hasn't he, there for his side and got them off on the front foot. Brilliant start. They looked like they could have scored earlier in that set when they went out wide, and Wigan's defence was fantastic to deny them, but they couldn't deny them a second time. Great bit of deception from Warrington. It looked to all of us as though they were going to pass the ball out to their left wing. Change of mind at the last moment, got Wigan out, and obviously got the Wolves up to a perfect start.
Yeah, Benny's big bash on the 30th of July. There'll be people like Andrew Flintoff, Mark Ramprakash, Devon Malcolm, Jeff Thompson, Ian Healy. They'll all be turning up. It's England-Australia legends as well. Grappenhall Cricket Club taking on Warrington Wolves. There's going to be 4,000 up there.
Back to 6. It was touched by a Wigan player. It's been acknowledged by the official Phil Bentham. Oh, that should have been a penalty. Daniel Goulding trying to rip the head off.
Mickey Hyam with a fantastic run.
They're on fire. They can hardly get their... They're all offside out on that left-hand side. They've got away with it.
It's Hyam again who's controlling things from dummy half, and he finds Briers who gets it to Hodgson. Short ball from him to that man, Westwood again. And Westwood goes down on the 3rd tackle, and Warrington are 18 metres away from the line. Here's Paul Wood once again. Remember, Adrian Morey, Gareth Carvell waiting to come on from the substitutes bench. So Wood and Hill will be running the blood to water. Here is Waterhouse, and that's not the best pass. But
it went backwards, it's got away with it.
They have. Here is Riley.
That was a 50-50 call.
Briers, they go wide, and Ratchford is grounded on that far side. There's Morley. He's champing at the bit, is Adrian Morley. Here is Briers. He'll float a high kick out wide, looking for Ryan Atkins. Charlie is the man who is claiming it, and then...
Yeah, it's got to be a penalty. He took him out before he got to the ball. And it has been given now. The kick was good, but you can see he took it while he was in air. And Josh Charlie says, come on, ref. You've got it, Josh. Don't worry about it. And boy, what a relief, because the pressure that Warrington are putting into it. And I tell you something, they're going down on that right-hand side in attacking. They're picking out the young Sam Powell, who's positioning himself way out on that left centre.
That was a great defensive set from the Wigan Warriors. They've learnt the lesson. Previously, when Don Crosby gave the penalty away, he was beaten in collision. He took a shortcut, went back on, gave a penalty away. Subsequently, Warrington scored. Wigan aired on that set. They lost collision, but they didn't go back on. They allowed the play to flow and trusted their defensive systems to hold out, which they obviously did.
Great ball from Smith to Harrison Hansen. Hansen has got Tompkins, but Myler did a great job actually then in cutting off the chance of the pass. Here comes Matty Smith. Matty Smith with a looping ball to Farrell. Quick hands then to Gelling. Gelling goes wide to Richards. Comes back this way. Richards pass to Matty Smith. Smith in field to Mosser.
Should have looked to try to twist and offload. Good defence there.
Last tackle here. Matty Smith threads the kick through the gap. And Hodgson is trapped in goal again.
And that's the type of play that you want from Wigan.
Second goal line dropout.
Yeah, they've been under the cosh, Eddie. They realise they've got to make sure they get a lot of profession. This beautiful pass, wasn't it? And the big fella Hansen goes straight through. You're right there, Myler just made sure that he couldn't offload to the skipper, Sam Tompkins. Tremendous positional play by this fella.
Good work, fellas.
Boy, they're on fire.
Yes, two sides are going at it hammer and tongs.
Grab the kicker.
We said before the game, both of these sides have got line breakers, and we've seen examples of that already. Maybe the winners tonight are the ones who, having had their line broken, as we just saw from Wigan, recover and prevent a try.
What about that little play from Matty Smith? That beautiful kick on the fly. Had to make it up. great instincts and fantastic skill.
Crosby to his feet. Logan Tompkins at dummy half. Matty Smith, and that's Powell, and here's Tompkins Sam, and he gets it away to Gelling. Breers has missed him, Monaghan hasn't. And he's doing well. Oh, he gets the ball away brilliantly somehow to Logan Tompkins.
He's such a big unit, isn't he, the centre, Anthony Gelling? And he did well to offload there. And you can see that Wigan now taking a leap out of the Warrington side. They wanted to get up and play the ball quickly.
Just a word about Gelling. It's his first time in the centre tonight. He's played on the wing throughout the course of the season. Here's a penalty for Wigan.
I'd take the tap. I wouldn't even bother with the two.
And that's exactly what they're doing.
First move.
And it was driven in by Crosby. There is Logan Tompkins, finds Matty Smith. He pops it off to Sam Tompkins, more and more involved. That's good defence from Riley on Goulding.
Yeah, not the best offload there in heavy traffic from Tompkins, but got away with it. Sam, that is.
Matty Smith, Burke will take it forward.
Got to utilise the dummy runner.
Wait.
Tompkins out wide. He'll come second phase, surely.
There's Powell, there's Tompkins again, cuts inside, and Tompkins is rising up on his back.
Brilliant attacking play, though, by the Warriors.
And wonderful defence from Warrington.
It had to be as well. Oh, Ratchford got his body underneath.
So here they come again, Wigan with Mossop.
5, move. Come on, Nick.
And Logan Tompkins is scheming. He goes down the short side with Sam Powell. Tries to get the kick away.
Accidental offside.
And it's 6 to go. 6 to go. 0 tackle coming up. This is Gelling again.
This is really going to test this defence now for Warrington. They've got the big... Oh, there's a problem there for Gelling.
He's dropped the ball as well as got a problem.
Well, it appears as though Breers and Gelling somehow collide awkwardly because both... Well, one lost the ball and both have stayed down for quite a while here after this collision.
Clash of heads, was it?
I think it was, yeah. There's been a slight high shot as well by Joe Monaghan. Combination, they've certainly made contact, that is for sure.
Well, Gelling is breathing deeply. Oh, it is a real clash of heads. On the chin, off the top of the head by Breers. I think Breers has come off worst. He has. I think give it a petroleum jelly on the cut, and that might need a stitch or two at half-time.
Well, doesn't that picture tell a story? Lee Breers, of all people, defending face first, head first. That's how much this game, this fixture means to Lee Breers and the Warrington Wolves. So impressed, I must have to say, with Matty Smith. In the true spirit of Wigan scrum halves, he's taking virtually every ball, going right at the Warrington line. We are in for an absolute cracker of a game.
And Breers gets a great round of applause from the supporters. He's going to be looking at this game through one eye in a moment because the right eye is closing rapidly.
And quite sensibly, they've just put him out on that right-hand wing there. But knowing Breers, he'll want to get involved.
He's coming back on the inside now, but the ball is on the other side of the field with Trent Waterhouse. And Brett Hodgson helps it on to Ryan Atkins. They know the threat that Atkins poses, and the referee is making himself, or trying to make himself heard. There's a right din inside the Halliwell-Jones Stadium tonight.
Well, you could hear the referee saying held, and then he moved on again, and he's got to give it. I reckon the crowd's help with that one. And Crosby, silly play, not release. The official was saying get off him, failed to do it. Look, in these tight games, you cannot afford to be giving away penalties like that. Remember, the last time they did that, Warrington scored. Can they do it again? They're capable.
Hill once again will take the battle forward. This time he's allowed to get to his feet and play it to Hyam. Here is Paul Ward.
Vicky Hyam's having a field day out there.
So is Wood. He's running around like a man possessed. This is Hyam. Now it's with Myler. Myler to Brett Hodgson. Hodgson drops a short ball off to Atkins. That was an important tackle. That was a very important tackle as it delayed the inevitable. The ball is lost. Charnley has it. Oh, hang on. He's just checking. I thought he was going to, for a moment, just ask the referee to check whether this is a try. He wants to check whether it's on the line or in the field of play. Stuart Cummings, is he actually looking for a try here?
Well, he asked for the restart, but, you know, it looks very close to being on the line when he puts the ball down. Is he still in possession?
I think he's lost it.
He probably just loses it at the bottom, doesn't he?
Yep. Who would have thought it? Stuart Cummings and I actually agreeing on something. Oh, wait a minute. Frame by frame. Has he got fingertip control?
Well, that looks like the hands on top of the ball as the ball hits the line, which would, of course, be a try.
Well, this will set the home crowd alight. Phil Bentham's right leg just obscuring. This perhaps will tell us even more. Frame by frame. Oh, on that one, he looks as though he's lost it. On the other two, it looks as though he's got it down. Over to you, Ian Smith.
This is a tough call, but it is no try. It's a 20-metre restart.
He seemed to back the referee's initial view, hasn't he, there? When the gut reaction from the referee, the man closest to the action, was that it wasn't a try. And I suppose in the absence of any conclusive evidence, he's gone with that, and Wigan now survive again.
Is that an escape? Is that a lucky escape for Wigan?
Oh, I think more often you've got to say that's a great decision for Phil Bentham to ask for assistance. This game is at 1,000,000 miles an hour. We've had 5 looks at that and still can't quite work out whether he scored or whether he didn't. And we go with what the officials finally come up with. So Phil Bentham can barely catch his breath.
Charlie down the line. Tompkins is up in support with him. He gets past Riley, but look at the cover defence that comes back. Tompkins Charlie to the deck, and here's a penalty for Wigan.
Well, Tompkins was appealing to the official straight away. He reckons he was taken out and without the ball.
Myler's injured, by the way. He's hobbling back into the defensive line. Here come Wigan again. This game being played at breakneck speed. And a drive in by Crosby once again. 10 metres out, he'll play it to Logan Tompkins. Here is Matty Smith. Smith to Goulding. He spins. The ball comes out. And Wigan have it, I think.
Was it a knock-on? Bentham looks to the touch judge. Touch judge.
It's a penalty. It's a penalty.
Well, a claim from the players, the Warrington side, saying that he'd lost control of that before.
4th Wigan penalty.
This is a moment. Was it a bobble? Hard to see.
4th Wigan penalty. Can they turn something into from it now? Logan Tompkins to Matty Smith. There's Powell. Tompkins out wide to Pat Richards.
Brilliant. Brilliant defence by Breer. Joe Monaghan underneath. Breer has stuck to him like a limpet mine.
And Lee Breer's looked at Phil Bentham and said no try. And it was no try. So the tackle count continues 10 metres out. Sam Powell, Greg Burke drives it in again, his 3rd in a row at loose forward. Super League debut in the 17-all draw. Logan Tompkins, brilliantly well.
How many times has he done that? Fantastic. Talk about relieving the pressure. Having a man with so much common sense out there. He proves it time and time again.
Why would anybody want to throw a face ball across Warrington's right edge when Lee Breers has been there for the past 12 years? He reads the game better than any player.
And even with one eye, he can read it pretty well. Here goes Paul Wood again.
Well, Paul Cullen spoke before about what this fixture means for the Warrington side. The 2 starting props for the Wolves tonight, Wood and Hill, were both born and brought up and went to school in the Wigan area. They've grown up, I suppose, knowing what it means to play for Wigan, and I guess I've got an extra determination to play against them.
It's not the best kick, though. Stephen Bratchford has put it right down the throat of the winger here. Tony Smith, the Wolves coach, will be disappointed with that. It needed to go right into the corner, keep it low, rather than right down the throat.
Darryl Goulding. I think it was Darryl Goulding's tackle, actually, on Ryan Atkins that prevented that try that went upstairs for video referee clarification. It was chalked off. Now then, this is Tom Spencer, who is on the field. He's missed the last 9 matches. Luaki with a hamstring problem over the weekend, not expected to play, failed a late fitness test. Matty Smith will play the ball, and Sam Tompkins will hoist it high. Now then, this is interesting because Farrell's after it. Brilliantly caught by Monaghan.
Wonderful concentration. That's what it takes under pressure like this.
Beautiful catch. Wigan building pressure and Warrington holding on. We're just hitting the first quarter. 20 minutes. The rotations are beginning to start. It's going to be so important in this game. The Warrington bench, you have to say, far more experience and can have far more impact than the Wigan bench. That's going to be the challenge for the Wigan club. Once the men in the middle start to get tired, can they maintain it with the younger players coming from the bench? Just look at the Warrington side. You've got Adrian Morley, Michael Monaghan, Gareth Carvell. The starting 8, 9 and 10. They're as good as any front row in the world of rugby league, and they're coming off the bench for the Warrington Wolves.
Breers just finding touch sensibly down that right-hand side.
This is the break here. Look at Charlie. He's got the speed. But they've got back on numbers there. Just gets him around. You can see there. And look at this. He went so close, didn't he? Breers, Joe Monaghan. Absolutely sensation. Breers, look at the dive. Mr. Intercept. Absolutely superb. I'll need a tablet soon.
Morley is ready to come on.
Well, the score says that Warrington ahead, but according to the stats, you'd expect Wigan. They've done particularly well. They've had the majority of the possession. That always helps in a game, but it's been very high quality. Great play from both sides, and the number of tries we've seen denied in goal, an example of what effort we've got from both sides tonight.
Goodness me, Adrian Morley just about to come onto the field. We remember his first game for the Primrose and Blue at Wigan a few years ago.
You will, Paul.
Went head-to-head with Eamon O'Carroll, came off worse and spent the next 12 weeks sat in the stand. We expect a massive impact from Adrian Morley tonight. Let's hope it's all positive.
Yes, that was one of your better days, if I remember rightly.
Well, there wasn't that many of them, but I'll take it then.
I must say, it's been absolutely fascinating to watch how Wigan been pushed around the field by Matty Smith. Warrington, their key player is Mickey Hyam. He's controlling things from the dummy half. Oh, that's a high shot. Silly play there.
Yes, Logan Tompkins mistimed the tackle. Here comes Morley. Big Adrian's about to come into the action, just right into the face by Logan Tompkins of Brett Hodgson.
And we keep saying it. You just cannot do that in this fireball of a game.
Here he comes.
And listen to the crowd for this man.
Chris Hill going off. Adrian Morley coming on.
And the big thing about Morley, he'll probably take the first run, and he will attract him like flies round a honeypot.
So some people have presence, and Adrian Morley has it in buckets full. He will lift. He will lift himself. He'll lift his team. He'll lift the crowd.
36 years of age, Adrian Morley, omitted by England last week, of course, for the Exiles game. And bad news for England today. Gareth Widdop has apparently dislocated a hip for the Melbourne Storm. He's going to be out for the season, and probably that's the end of his World Cup as well.
Yeah, sad news for the England camp, that is for sure. That's great defence. Look how Smith came flying in there.
No doubt Steve-O and Rod and company will be discussing that in back chat tomorrow, 10 o'clock, here on Sky Sports. The ball goes back and Waterhouse picks it up. This is the zero tackle.
Well, the forwards have really got into each other. I just get the feeling now that this is where Warrington coach Donny Smith, I'll say to the likes of Stephen Ransford, come on, just take them on, ask those few questions.
Well, here is Hodgson trying to stab that through, and that wasn't played at, I think I heard Phil Bentham say, so this tackle count continues. Breers has it in centre field. No, the tackle count carries on.
That could have been a flop. And he could be offside. Phil Bentham allowed a lot of advantage. It's good for the viewers.
Hyam to Myler, to Hodgson, quick hands from Ransford. He finds Joel Monaghan. Joel Monaghan round the outside. And they get him over the line, but was he pulled? Was he pushed? Stuart, I think he was pushed, but I think there's a bit of pulling going on as well.
I think he was pushed into there, and there was only one place he was going to end up, really.
Well, that's a pull for me.
Well, it was a pull, but by the time the referee calls held on that, he's going to be in touch anyway. You know, by the time he registers in his mind he's got a call held, he ends up in touch. So it's probably the right call.
And that's why I want that thing taken away from our game. How can you decide pulling and pushing? What you do it in the field of play, and then when you get anywhere near the touchline, it's a penalty. No, it's madness. Get rid of it.
That was brilliant defence.
You can't rewrite the rules every day of the week, okay?
That was brilliant defence on behalf of the Wigan Warriors, and I honestly don't think there's an issue there with dragging or pulling. It should be in the game. It should be allowed. You must reward quality defence like that.
Oh, dear. A mistake from Wigan and young Tom Spencer.
Yeah, took his eyes off the football. You could see one Paul Wood zoning in, and why not?
Well, if Wigan have a weakness in this game, it's the maturity, the experience of the men in the middle. And there was one of the toughest guys that have ever worn the cherry and white in Sean Wayne. He knows just how hard it is in the middle of the field. I think that's where the game will be won and lost tonight. Warrington, some real quality and experience on the bench, and Wigan sending out more young players because they have to.
This is going to be a penalty against Ryan Atkins.
Well, he lost the plot, did Atkins, didn't he? He didn't like the fact that I think it was Darryl Goulding that came out at him.
How quick was Darryl Goulding? Was he actually onside? We may get to see this again later here. But he's just about caught the ball. He's about 5 metres behind the scrum. Goulding has to be 5 metres behind his own scrum. He seems to have covered over 10 metres in less than a second.
Usain Bolt?
Well, he's got to play the ball on the mark where the tackle was made, and it was plain that Ryan Atkins wasn't interested in that. There you go. There's the evidence that, I don't know, you make your mind up. Was he on, was he off?
You have to remember that the ball's out of the scrum once it comes out from behind the second row, not the loose forward's foot.
He was on a mission, wasn't he? He was going to make his mark and set his standard to Ryan Atkins.
Good ball that was from Sam Powell, and Sam Powell took a clatter after the ball had gone. Tompkins picks it up one-handed. Here is young Tom Spencer again, trying to make up for the error. 27 minutes gone. Boy, it's flown by. Jack Hughes will play the ball here to Tompkins. Tompkins then to Powell. Play on, not tackle, so he gets the ball away to Spencer, who'll trundle it up underneath the sticks again. Here comes the last.
Got to be a good kick into the in-goal area. They've got to get another set if they can.
Smith, back it comes to Tompkins, and this is going to be a knock-on, and it's going to be another set of 6. It's as good.
It is.
In fact, it's better than a goal line dropout, obviously, because they'll start this set of 6 10 metres out.
But why didn't Sam Tompkins throw the dummy? I think you could find that Ryan Atkins was just off balance. He got the fingers to it, but watch Tompkins here. He maybe could have gone for it.
There's a current trend. There's a current trend which tends to make the plays go out. Always to the man out the back, always a pass on. It looks like we only want wings to score. A half-back, a full-back who links in, who runs at the line, is worth his weight in gold.
Liam Farrell will play the ball to Logan Tompkins down the short side with Jack Hughes. Warrington's defence was up to the task. Plays the ball to Logan Tompkins, back it comes again.
And that's what Wigan need, a little bit more running from dummy half by Logan Tompkins. He's been quite happy just to farm it out, as he's doing there.
Sam Powell, Matty Smith, short ball, Harrison Hansen.
Great tackle there, Waterhouse had to be right round the ankles.
Logan Tompkins again, Powell slides the kick into the in-goal area. Joel Monaghan to the rescue, brilliantly.
Not surprisingly, the entire Warrington fans get onto their feet for a wonderful execution from the winger. Give it to me. That's important. Look how intelligently he used the post.
A world-class player. There's a good argument, he's one of the best overseas players that's ever worn the primrose and blue. Outstanding read, fantastic return of the ball.
There's a little bit of an argy-bargy involving Hyam and Farrell there, and Hyam is off the field, not via the referee, via the coach's call. And meanwhile, Sam Tompkins is penalised.
There's never a a good time to give a penalty away, and that was one of them, because Michael Monaghan is now on the field, expecting, demanding to run from dummy half. He's going to take on Wigan right in the midfield.
Well, there's plenty of verbals going around there.
And here's Michael Monaghan's first touch, and he gives it to Carvel, who is also a fresh pair of legs.
And what a wonderful effort they've got him from Mickey Hyam. He's taking a rest, but don't worry, he'll come back at some point in time.
Spencer gets to Michael Monaghan first. Here is Myler. This is Morley. And Morley will go down on the third tackle, bang in front of the Wigan posts. Michael Monaghan again fires the pass to Breers. Breers slides the kick in. It was missed. It's a try for Joel Monaghan.
I think he's got a hand to it. He'll go upstairs. They were bouncing about. He didn't have a great view, I feel, Phil Bentham.
They're also looking at obstruction in back play.
Well, there's been a lot of... When all the players have been playing the ball, they've been touching, they've been pushing. Well, Lee Breers is saying you're not going to kid the referee. But this has gone on throughout this entire game.
Well, they're looking for obstruction. I think that's the collision there.
Well, I don't think that Farrell could have got anywhere near Breers when he puts the kick in. Is at least 5 to 6 metres away.
Well, the difference here is that it's actually affected the way he can get to a defender. He pulls in another defender, so that will have an effect on the play.
I don't think they're looking at it again, Stuart, or are they?
Well, the kick's been put through. I think they're all onside from there, or is he just offside? I think he's in front there.
We've got to define. He's nowhere near 10 metres. It was Ratchford that was the dummy runner, so therefore he's not within the 10 metres. This should be given. Yeah, he's got the fingers of control of that.
He's lost it, hasn't he? And then does he regather it before it hits the deck?
I think he's got full control of this.
Stuart?
Well, he's got to have both hands on it. If his hands come away and he gets it back in possession before it hits the ground, it would be allowed. But it seems to... Does it come away from his possession?
That's a try. Forearm folding over the ball. Yep. I think that's okay.
Well, I think that's come away, but anyway, Stuart...
It's difficult to see any separation on it. There's no real evidence of separation, so the video referee's happy with the other.
I think he's got his left fingers
of the doubt then, Stuart.
I'm going to go TRY.
Well, I don't think it's conclusive that his hands come away from it. So I think on that basis, you'd have to go with the fact that the ground is correct.
To try. Well, it's a massive call from Ian Smith. And Joel Monaghan gets the try. He has now scored 8 tries for Warrington in 7 meetings with Wigan since 2011, including 1 in each of the home wins last year and the year before. Joel Monaghan. And that's his 80th for Warrington.
Masterful kick. The man does it all the time. See how he threw the dummy, which brought out the Wigan defence. And Pat Richards just could not get a hand to this. He couldn't get the power to force it goal in. The raise of the eyebrows says YES to the TRY.
I wonder if that was a little confession from Joel Monaghan. It was a raised eyebrow. It was a smile.
It was a try every day of the week.
So every time anyone raises the eyebrow...
Well, when you raise the eyebrow, I know you're telling fibs.
Did you notice, before Lee Breers has put the kick in, before there's any contention, Warrington are winning collision, which meant Wigan weren't set at marker. They usually have 1 defender in that situation. There were 2, and they weren't back and they weren't set. Sam Tompkins sharing a crack and a laugh and a joke now with Lee Breers and the referee. How good is that? He didn't get in the position that he needed to be as a fullback because he had to shore up at the marker.
Well, the conversion's been missed, so from a Wigan point of view, it's a damage limitation, but it's a 10-point advantage for the Warrington Wolves. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad when it's played like this. It's tremendous.
Brilliant.
The match on Friday was good, and I said follow that, Warrington-Wigan. They are. This fellow is perpetual motion, Ben Westwood. And a big deep kick from inside his own 40.
That's brilliant. Kick early on the third. You've got 10 points up on the scoreboard. You know you can apply the pressure. He's such a wonderful player, isn't it? And what about the fact that Tony Smith can look at Michael Monaghan, Mickey Hyam, two hookers of top-class performance.
10-0 as men lead. Almost at full strength. Only Harrison and Bridge absent tonight. So this is probably, at the moment, as good as it gets for Warrington, and leading 10-0 against Wigan. The fans would agree with that.
What's needed now from Warrington is the total composure. Make sure you don't get offside. Make sure you don't go high, swinging arm. Don't give away the penalty. Try to force Wigan to stay in their own half.
Sounds easy that way.
Well, I think that's been the difference in the game so far. It's pretty obvious. There's been 2 errors from the Wigan halfbacks, 1 poor pass, 1 poor kick, and 2 penalties from the young front rower. And that's been the difference, and that's why there's a 10-point margin.
But here come Wigan for a moment.
We just overrunning with Josh Chandler. He's getting the bird from the huge Warrington fans underneath our commentary box.
Do you know, if you had a point for every time Wigan have created an overlap, I think they'd actually be ahead at the moment. They've been very successful, but they haven't managed to convert it into tries. Really good with the number of decoys they get, but that final pass to Charnley hasn't produced any points yet.
No, if he catches that, he's in.
It's always debatable. Wingers always try to just get that momentum going, but sometimes, and I think he knows, Josh Charnley, that if he'd have just waited a split second, he would have been able to run onto that ball.
I don't think Wigan have to try any harder in this game. They just have to try a little bit smarter with a little bit more composure. That really is the job now of Sean Wayne and Iestyn Harris and the coaches when they get the charges back in the dressing room at half-time. 6 minutes-ish on the clock to survive and keep the score only to 10 points. And if they do that, that's a massive advantage, I think, for Wigan going in at half-time.
You mentioned Iestyn Harris, Paul. He, of course, is a man who began his glittering playing career with the Warrington Wolves before moving on to pastures new. And he's back with Wigan now in the coaching ranks alongside Sean Wayne. That's the brains trust for Wigan. Here, meanwhile, is Adrian Morley as we approach the last 5 minutes of this first half. 10 points is good for Warrington. 16 would be priceless. High kick from Myler. Claimed, and well claimed too, by Anthony Gelling.
Yeah, he did well there, Eddie. It looked as though Sam Tompkins was going to go for it, but the big fella, Gelling, said it's mine. Took it well as well under pressure from Monaghan.
There's a big target for Warrington here because no team, none of them in Super League, have kept Wigan scoreless at half-time yet this year. They have been across the whitewash twice, of course, and sensational Warrington defence has kept the score sheet blank. Here are the opportunities. First for Sam Tompkins. He's held up. And then it was Pat Richards who was held up. So
that was a great little pass. Sorry, Eddie, that was a great little pass under pressure, right at the try line. Sorry, right at the defence line. Beautiful skills.
That was good work by Michael Monaghan there. He put himself into the sweeper position, but to get there, he had to push the official Phil Bentham out of the way.
Monaghan, Michael, Joe Monaghan.
Joe nearly made that. That's got to be a penalty.
It could even be a sin bin, that, couldn't it, Stuart?
That's very close to a sin bin. Certainly the referee will be thinking about that. It was a clear break, and a quick play of the ball could have resulted in a try-scoring situation.
Well, he's held his cards in his pocket, has Phil Bentham. So here come Warrington with Michael Monaghan and Ben Curry, the baby on the bench, 18 years of age.
Nice offload too.
Richard Myler. Breers goes wide and finds Ratchford. Wrexford tackled by Gelling. Westwood plucks it out of the air.
That's good refereeing. All right, he was bobbling around. It wasn't the best play of the ball, but he just said, let's get on with it.
Michael Monaghan finds Myler. Myler drops the shoulder. It opens up for Myler. And Wigan's turn to hold the man up on the right side of the whitewash. But look how close Warrington are again to their third try. Michael Monaghan. Waterhouse will bring it back. Trying to use the strength. Waterhouse dumps it back to Myler. Moves it forwards.
Knocked on. Well, he looks calm, cool and collected. But I think deep down some of his players are getting a little bit overexcited.
Well, I think this is Warrington's first kind of serious error of the game. No real need for it. Lee Briers was waiting menacingly on the right-hand side with full shape and lots of room to run in. I think this is a big test for young players like Sam Powell. If you want to play scrum half, want to play half-back at this level, you've got to be able to aim up and defend. And he's a brave young kid, and he's having a go. And if you don't believe me, ask the likes of Lee Briers and Richie Myler, Matty Smith from the Wigan Warriors. If you want to play scrum half, you've got to stand in the line and you've got to defend.
Richards goes down 2 minutes from half-time, deep inside his own half, though. It's solid Warrington defence, and it has been from minute one. And Logan Tompkins waits again. Matty Smith. Oh, and there's a mistake.
That's all come about by pressure. This would be the free play and jink around, diddle around.
No, well, they're hanging on to it, so the tackle count will start with the 0 tackle on Riley.
Massive 90 seconds now for Wigan to try and hold on.
Westwood, down he goes. Warrington sniffing blood here.
Maybe a couple of drives and we go for the one. Briers is known to do it before.
Briers on his inside to Morley.
He's in a good position. Got plenty in the bank though, that's only the third.
Yes, and we've got over a minute remaining, so they can play out this set of 6. Carvel trundles it forward and gets the treatment from 3 Wigan defenders. Briers has dropped back, so too has Brett Hodgson. It's with Michael Monaghan and Myler. Here is Briers, he slides the kick in. Richards this time is safe and secure. Loses it!
Play on!
No, it's pulled out by Stephen Ratchford, he says.
Yes, it's called it a one-on-one tackle, and it's been pulled out, but pulled out forward, in the referee's opinion.
Well, if it's 2-on-1 pulled out, shouldn't that be a penalty?
He said it's a one-on-one, Stephen. Just.
Oh, only just, yeah.
20 seconds, 21 seconds to be precise, remaining. Only 10-0.
Wigan are not out of it, even though the possession and field position has been virtually all Warrington. There's certainly more advantage. And Sean Wayne, the Wigan coach, should be glad that they're only 10 points because they've been put under the hammer for this first 40 minutes.
Tompkins is brought to ground. And that was the last action of the first half. Sean Wayne stone-faced, as he would be, because his team have never been nilled in the first half before this year. And Tony Smith with a 10-point advantage at half-time. Well, he'll be the happier of the two coaches, but Wayne will know that Wigan are still very much in the hunt here. Ben Westwood with the first try, and Hodgson added the conversion. That was 6-0 after just 7 minutes. And then Joel Monaghan with a try out wide after much deliberation, again from the video referee, Smith. And Warrington have a 10-point lead at half-time.
So special. It's perfect. History is made. Absolutely thrilling cricket.
We can have a lot of fun.
The new Seat Leon SC.
Sad.
You say magicians rob the bank? FBI! You have what we like to call nothing up your sleeve. First rule of magic, always be the smartest guy in the room.
Expose them now.
The closer you think you are, the less you'll actually see.
Now You See Me in cinemas July 3.
Both players trading forehands from the baseline. Nadal approaching the net. Oh, it's a beautiful passing shot from Murray. But it clipped the line.
Do you? Don't you? Cash out on Wimbledon. Join Betfair, download the Sportsbook app and get a free bet up to £25. Cash out. Do you? Don't you?
It's the summer's funniest movie, the best comedy in years.
We are actors. We pretend to be hard.
Absolutely hilarious. This is the end.
Welcome to my little house in the country. Here I enjoy the simple life, making cidre. The work is hard. The apples have to be picked by hand. This one. And after an honest day's work, 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to relax with the locals. A simple Belgian recipe. For a sophisticated taste, c'est cidre, not cider.
Tesco Mobile.
No mid-contract price hikes.
Dan had a plan.
I've got a plan. Revenge. 10-pin style.
So to score some early points, he told the lads to check out Giacomo. This got the ball rolling, and the gear sorted. With 50 major brands in sizes medium to 5XL, many exclusive to Giacomo, we had style on our side. They had Lady Luck on theirs.
Fortunately, we had a bloke who used to do a bit of bowling.
For the book, call 0800 980 1180 and get 10% off your first order today. Go to giacomo.co.uk.
Get him up. Good effort. Well done.
Hold it, mate.
The Army's recruiting. Search Army jobs.
On Blu-ray and DVD, Broken City is fantastic and brilliantly tense. Mark Wahlberg, Russell Crowe.
I own you. Couldn't if you tried.
Broken City. Buy it now.
Cash out on this summer's biggest sporting events. Join Betfair, download the Sportsbook app and get a free bet up to £25. Cash out. Do you? Don't you?
Super League warm-up, bringing you the latest previews prior to each Super League weekend.
Breaking news coming to us. Lee Briers is out for Warrington.
That'll only give them a big lift. They'll stand there with a Duke and say, right, come on if you think you're hard enough.
Join us every week on a Super League Friday. Your Super League weekend starts here.
Yeah, start your weekend with the Super League warm-up on Friday nights at 7 o'clock. Press the red buttons for it. It's on Sky Sports 1 HD this weekend. Just before we have a look at Huddersfield against the Catalan Dragons. So tonight and Friday we are seeing the top three in the Super League, with Huddersfield Catalan following on from Warrington and Wigan. And a big tick on the box for Warrington. They have kept Wigan scoreless in the first half, the first team to do that in 2013. And Tony Smith will be well pleased with what he has seen. I think it's fair to say that Warrington, well, to the naked eye at least, we'll have to see what Phil's stats tell us later, but to the naked eye they look as though Warrington have been on top from the very first minute, but Wigan are right in there and fighting. And any team that's coached by Sean Wayne will do nothing less. He's upset that he couldn't bring his A game and his A team to this fixture. one or two youngsters having to fill in for some very experienced heads. But 10-0, damage limitation, and they could easily sneak back into it during the second half. But a rip-roaring first 40 minutes for John Wells to look back at now.
Warrington Wolves, Eddie, fast starters. They had to fight to get the upper hand early on. Once they got in position, Breers' position here is concerning Sam Powell in that Wigan defensive line, who jumps in and reveals a chink in the Wigan defensive line. The other guy who circled is Westwood, who piles through the gap. 6-0, early score inside 10 minutes. But some early signs of Wigan game plan too, trying and succeeding here in isolating Myler on the edge. Look how he slowed this down now. Hansen on the inside line, Tompkins on the outside line. Myler stood still on his heels, Hansen downfield. And as they found a hold in the game, they looked increasingly dangerous. Charlie's break downfield was followed by this through the hands to Richards on the end. Joe Monaghan take a bow. He knows the ones you stop are just as important as the ones you score. Well done. And Breers backed that up with an excellent interception to back up that excellent defensive effort to really stunt the Warriors and swing the momentum right back to the Wolves. But in a game where calm heads will prevail, Ryan Atkins lost his momentarily. Heavy challenge from Goulding, tackled 2 metres from the line. Look where he plays it. Phil Bentham right to give the penalty to Wigan. They're just sneaking a couple of metres. So he owes a lot here to Joe Monaghan again. Sam Powell with a kick. Joe Monaghan, this superb response to that well-weighted kick in getting out of danger, putting his side on the front foot once again. And what Monaghan started, he finished in inverted commas in the corner a minute later. Deft kick from Breers, a swing and a miss from Richards. And the video referee gave this, so I'll let you make your own mind up. And here's what Joe Monaghan thought about that as well. The score, though, reads 10-0. Warrington in control of the half, in control of this game, no doubt about it. But they would do well to minimise these unnecessary offloads and errors. They don't need to make that. They're in charge of this ball game. 10-0 at half-time. And as you said, Eddie, the 0 next to Wigan half of the scoreboard is significant. It's the first time they've gone in at half-time without scoring any points in 40 minutes of rugby. That tells an awful lot about this first half. Wigan, for me, they need to get back to that setup and structure that saw Harrison Hansen breaking through cleanly down midfield. They seem to have gone away from that a little bit as the pressure's increased through this first half. For Tony Smith, as we said, just cutting out the unnecessary errors. But I doubt they'll do that because I know the way they play. They love to pass this ball around, and it's great to watch.
It is great to watch. Thanks, John. It's a shame that John's all wrapped up against the weather. It's a bit chilly out there. You know, here is a very depressing thought for you, Brian, before we talk about what has enlightened us this evening. It was the longest day on Friday. The nights are getting shorter.
Cheer up, it's not that bad. Look, we've got wonderful entertainment. That's been enough to take your mind off the weather, off everything else. That is Super League at its best. We were royally entertained last Friday night at Castleford. We're getting the same again. And you don't need tries sometimes, Eddie, to be entertained. The defence on show is ferocious. And there's not much in between the two teams. 10 points ahead are the Warrington Wolves. But Wigan Warriors, they're very close. John has showed they've had a couple of opportunities to get over that Warrington line. Haven't been able to ground the ball, but they're not far away.
No, not far away. Was that a try for Monaghan in the corner? I saw the eyes and the face, and I thought he's given himself up here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't award a try or disallow a try on the back of that. The video referee doesn't have access to Super Zoom, which John has in that replay. But I do believe in watching it after a couple of replays that he did knock the ball on. However, they've got the try. It's all been given now. What I would say is, Eddie, the thing that Wigan are perhaps lacking or will need to keep an eye on going into the second half are two things, intangibles, things you can't measure: confidence and belief. Because they'll know going into this game that they're as good a side when they got everybody on board as the Warrington Wolves. Perhaps even better so far in the season because they're higher up in the league. But the longer this game goes on, that confidence might start ebbing away. That belief might start disappearing and crumbling a little bit because they haven't got their full side out tonight and they are struggling to get over that Warrington Wolves line. And you're right, looking at that with a naked eye, without access to statistics, I would say to you that Warrington Wolves well on top. Wigan need a lot more ball near the Warrington line.
Well, they do, and Paul Cullen summed it up perfectly in the pre-match build-up, didn't he? He said, this is Wigan week for Warrington. I don't think Wigan turned up here saying this is Warrington week for us.
Well, no, but I don't think Sean Way would have...
well, he says it's anybody's week, any week, because he wants to win everything.
He rides them pretty hard on most every week, so I think this is a game that he'll be looking to win. He just knows he's short of a lot of his troops. He'll be proud of the performance they've put in. They've defended so well. A lesser team, Eddie, would have been 20, 30 points down now. That's not so for the Wigan Warriors, but they need to cross the line. They need to have some sort of belief in this second half.
Well, will Sean Wayne wave the magic wand in that Wigan dressing room? Will he galvanise the team? I'm sure he will. Will they come out and give a performance to savour, or will Warrington run away with it in this second 40? Brian's right. Wigan have had to do so much defence, although we're concentrating here on their attack. But let's see what happens in the second half.
I keep all my medals in a box because what really motivates me are all those moments that have made me who I am. My granddad timing me across his garden and ferrying me all around the country. My mum and dad's gentle support, whatever the weather. And when I breathed in that atmosphere at the Olympic Stadium, it felt like that same love was coming from everyone.
The English Schools Athletics Championship, coming soon to Sky Sports.
But it's not quite Carling.
Carling, refreshingly perfect.
Men's face care. It's not the same as women's face care. Forget complicated, time-consuming, and potentially painful. Moisturising can be simple, fast, and feel good. Nivea Men Originals Moisturising Cream, from a pioneer of male skincare. Results that get noticed. Nivea Men, it starts with you. Each Nivea Men product could win you an England game experience, helping you feel like man of the match. And at Tesco, each shot you take is half price.
Both players trading forehands from the baseline. Nadal approaching the net. Oh, it's a beautiful passing shot from Murray. But it clipped the line.
Do you? Don't you? Cash out on Wimbledon. Join Betfair, download the Sportsbook app and get a free bet up to £25. Cash out. Do you? Don't you?
I am spectacular zooming. I am 22 times zoom and share. I am the Coolpix S9500. I am part of the Nikon family.
On Blu-ray and DVD, Broken City is fantastic and brilliantly tense. Mark Wahlberg, Russell Crowe.
I own you. Couldn't if you tried.
Broken City. Buy it now.
At the limits of your ability, you need to replace the electrolytes you lose in sweat. Give your body fuel. Keep your body hydrated. Lucozade Sport hydrates and fuels you better than water.
Cash out on this summer's biggest sporting events. Join Betfair, download the Sportsbook app and get a free bet up to £25. Cash out. Do you? Don't you?
This is Eddie Stobart, Trucking Songs. 58 driving anthems. 3 CDs of rock classics. Eddie Stobart, Trucking Songs, the #1 album.
Your home of sport.
A Super League Monday, and Warrington ahead by 10 points to 0. Now that I said during half-time, to the naked eye, it looked like Warrington were well in control. What do naked Phil's stats tell us?
Well, they tell you that you're actually wrong here. We look at the possession that Warrington have had. They've had 73 play the balls, 15 inside the opposition 20, and most of them at the top of your screen on the right-hand side of the field with Westwood, Ratchford and Joel Monahan. Not a surprise then that they've got 2 tries up in that corner of the field. Wigan, well, you thought they hadn't had much possession. When we turn it over, they've had 75 plays in total. And in fact, they've had 24 inside the opposition 20. Those from 3 right boxes on your right-hand side of the screen. Eddie, but they had those in the first 28 minutes of the game, and they weren't down there in the final 10 of that first half. The story of the first half, well, we see that both sides more or less, of course, shared possession pretty evenly. In a low-scoring game, there was a lot of ball in play. Warrington started the game well and scored in their third set of possession, and their error rate's been lower than what you've seen in a typical Super League game. 10 penalties in all, 5 for both sides. The performance gauge, well, I guess this summarises the key stats of the first half, and it would suggest, Eddie, that in terms of breaks, meters and tackle success, Wigan should be a little closer than your perception during the break.
Yes, the stats predicting a tied match. The facts telling us that Warrington are ahead by 10 points to 0 as we get this second half underway. Pat Richards to do exactly that on the referee's whistle, the referee being Phil Bentham. He's ready, checking everything out. Off we go. Big 40 minutes ahead for the Cherry and Whites.
Certainly is, and I'm sure that Sean Wayne would have said to him, remember I made mention of the fact that Logan Tompkins needs to run a little bit more from dummy half. His opposite number runs from dummy half, 11 from Warrington, only 1 from Wigan. But the market is back.
He's been brought back for a forward pass, Richie Myler.
Yep. The point I'm making, Eddie, is that so much running from the Wolves side from dummy half, it's made the marker defence. Warriors have had to do that on 19 occasions. That tires out your forwards from your first and second marker.
Happy that this is forward, gentlemen?
50-50.
It's called for, but I want to go back to the point you just saying at half-time. Wigan didn't do that much wrong in the first half an hour of the game. They got across the try line a couple of times. They just couldn't ground the ball. Superb defence, as you pointed out. And Warrington a little unlucky. That's one of the favourite players of Myler to come on a short pass from one of his forwards.
Well, it's gifted Wigan possession from the scrum, and here is Harrison Hansen. Myler, though, low down, and Waterhouse flying out of the line to bring him down. This is Hughes. He gets it away to Sam Tompkins. Atkins gets to him with help from Chris Riley. And it's Matty Smith and Crosby. Solid defence from Monahan again. Logan Tompkins shows it to Hughes. Here is Liam Farrell. Brushes away from Morley, but can't get away from the next 2.
He needs to come on the second phase, just Farrell, not taking it on the angle like that.
Now Matty Smith. Here's Tompkins. It's open for Tompkins. It's here. Another one for Ian Smith to adjudicate. First glance, Stuart, that looks like a bounce ball.
Well, I think the more looking at the obstruction on this, Eddie, he goes through a big hole after one of the forwards has gone through it. Whether he actually gets through the line before there's any obstruction, we can see on this now. So first of all, we've got to look to see where Hansen comes through. Hansen goes through the line, and where is the ball caught? Is it caught behind Hansen or on the outside shoulder? That's what Ian Smith has got to decide on this one.
That looks like American football, that to me, Stuart. You can't have players running in front of the man catching the ball.
No, if Hansen gets through the line and Tompkins catches the ball outside Hansen, then that will be play on. But I think he catches the ball directly behind him, so this should be called an obstruction.
He's certainly got it down.
He's got it down, and they're looking at the grounding.
It looks to me obstruction. Nothing wrong with that at all. Fingertip control. This will be given if they don't utilise the obstruction.
Well, they're looking at the grounding 3 times, 4 times. Nothing wrong with that. This is going to be given.
I'd give it. I really would. I thought that was a brilliant pass from Matty Smith. Tompkins moved from inside to out, and it was a misread from Warrington.
Try is given to Sam Tompkins. Harrison Hansen was the dummy runner, and he kept on going, didn't he? But I know the point that both Phil and Stuart are making. It appeared to take a man out, but was it good dummy runner play?
Well, that didn't look a forward pass either, so at the moment I'm 0 from 2 at the moment on my close calls. And Wigan here, it's a great play. To twist your hips and turn the ball, pass the ball accurately backwards is a great skill. And to finish from that position, it's slowed down here, but he's able to change direction, speeds up again through the gap, and reaches and throws that long arm out. He's 2 or 3 metres from the line when he's hit, but he manages to put it on there and score Wigan's first points.
And the ever-dependable Pat Richards cuts the margin down to 10 points to 6. That, by the way, the first ever try that Sam Tompkins has scored against Warrington in Super League.
And a contentious one at that. Nothing wrong about the grounding. He got the fingertip control, but what about this dummy runner there from Harrison Hansen? We've seen it all through this season that they've been turned down for nothing as clear-cut as that, and yet they've decided that that is a-okay now. They've got to make a decision.
Well, they have, and they've given Wigan the try to Sam Tompkins. And as Rod said pre-match, all the talk in the newspapers this morning was of Sam Tompkins on his way to the New Zealand Warriors. Here is a penalty for Wigan, meanwhile. If he goes to the New Zealand Warriors, he follows in the footsteps of Dennis Betts, Andy Platt, and, of course, Dean Bell, 3 Wigan legends.
Yeah, according to New Zealand, the media over there, they say that it's complete. On a heap of money, you can't blame the guy.
No, it'd be a terrible loss to Super League, though.
Yeah, of course.
A terrible loss to this game in this country. The one good thing about it is he's still in the sport. He's not crossed the Great Divide. Here goes Gelling. Suddenly Wigan have got their tails up. And here is another penalty for them. Ball stealing. 2-1 in the tackle.
Breer's trying to be cheeky.
And Morley.
Oh, it's Morley, yeah. Quite clearly.
Well, it seems like it's Warrington's turn now to be a little bit rattled to make those mistakes. The forward pass, the penalty, a chance for Wigan to really cement some field position, build some pressure, and cause some insecurity, some concern to the Warrington Wolves. Sean Wayne won't have been talking about super zooms at half-time. It'll be about quality of your catch and pass and put the Wolves under pressure.
Great tackle by Breers on Sam Tompkins.
Big problems over the front forward, Dom Crosby. He's not right. He's received treatment in the back play.
He's got hold of the ball now, though. That's how brave these players are in Super League. Logan again at dummy half. Liam Farrell. Here's Sam. Changes direction. Gets the ball away to Sam Powell. Here is Matty Smith. Matty Smith flat pass. Goulding stabs the kick in. Atkins is after it. And Atkins does really well.
Yeah. The interchange there. Atkins had gone out into the wing position. You could see that his winger had come in on the angle, and that's good coordination.
Wigan are trying to pen Warrington back inside their own quarter here.
You can see there Atkins, aware of what had happened, knows that his winger, and that's high.
Referee says no, it wasn't. Play on. Here comes Morley, straight at Crosby, straight at Logan Tompkins, with help from Jack Hughes. He's brought down on tackle number 5. Kick coming here from Breers. High and deep, straight down the middle of the field. Charnley's after it. Josh Charnley will pick it up. Tompkins, by the way, now 23 tries in Super League this year. Josh Charnley, 22.
And didn't Warrington do so well to defend that set? Then complete, then get a kick in, and a quality chase.
Well, again, just what we witnessed in the first half, the defence from both sides is nothing short of cruel. Boy, how much fuel will they have left in the tank in the final quarter? That's going to be the deciding factor as far as I'm concerned. Beautiful dummy.
Matty Smith was almost through. Myler did well. Quick play the ball up. Tompkins is away. Tompkins is brought to ground by Ben Curry.
He's getting involved a little bit more now. Tompkins scoring that try. Certainly lift the spirits. Here's the kick.
From Matty Smith. High. Straight up in the air. Will come down to Gelling. It's knocked back. It's still on the last. That was Tewson who found Hughes. That's Smith. Here's Tompkins again. Goes wide to Darryl Goulding. Goulding stabs the ball over the top and will chase it himself. Hodgson comes to the rescue. Oh, and then slips.
This is the fastest and best game I've seen in Super League all year. You can't ask for much more from any player on the pitch. I did say at half-time, 10-0 down was almost a moral victory for Wigan, because Warrington, I thought, had, although the stats were quite even, they had the moral share of the game. They made less mistakes and made more of it. Wigan have really gone in at half-time and learned how to fight back.
Well, Hansen putting the shoulder onto Morley.
He was groggy, there's no doubt about that. Look at Hansen, he's only just getting back into the line, but Morley must have been damaged as well.
I'm not surprised with that. Nothing wrong with it, everything legal.
Because Morley's just come up with a knock-on.
That is what you call pressure. Harrison Hansen certainly did one there for his side.
Man, you can't ask for any more, can you? That's head-on, face-to-face defence. They are throwing every single thing they've got. There's no self-preservation from any player on the field. Head-first defence, and they are rattling each other.
Well, an error. They try to play the ball quickly.
And I think I did a disservice to Adrian Morley. It was actually Michael Moore.
Yeah, you're right, he wanted to scoot away early. It's been their plan, Warrington, hasn't it? They've been trying to play the ball so quickly. Gelling makes the run.
And he's got Bradsford on his back, but he gets to within 4 metres of the Warrington line. Here is Richards. Richards then to Liam Farrell, who just stands and says, come on, if you think you're tough enough. And Warrington do believe they're tough enough. Down he goes. Logan Tompkins waits now. Will come in centre field to Sam Powell. Jack Hughes. And the Warrington defensive line stands firm after 3 tackles. 3 gone, 3 to come. With Matty Smith on the ball for Wigan. He finds Sam Tompkins. That was touched.
Back to 6.
That was touched. Riley will come back, because this will be another scrum with head and feed to Wigan.
Great pressure that Wigan are applying there. You can see the left arm of Brian Atkins just snaked out there. Had him all covered. Riley had come off the wing as well.
Ever present this year, Brian Atkins. This is actually his 31st consecutive appearance.
Well, Michael Monaghan tried to convince Phil Bentham that it was in the act of the tackle, but he was a little bit too far out with the left arm.
So here's a chance for Wigan with Liam Farrell. He runs onto that one strongly. Goes down under the challenge from Breers and Ratchford. They're asking for a knock-on against Farrell. Here is Hughes. And Hughes gets to within a metre and a half before he's twisted and put down. There was the knock-on. He did lose it.
Yep.
Or did it go backwards, or was it reefed out by Breers anyway?
Well, it's in the tackle and he's lost control. It should be classified as a knock-on.
Well,
Will they pay the prize, Warrington?
The argument is academic, because Wigan still have it. And it's all gone now, so Warrington know they have to defend 2 more tackles here as Chewson drives it in. That was Matty Smith. Good, quick hands. Tompkins wide. Gelling will go in for Wigan, and the score's a level. Wigan have come out at the start of the second half, and they're playing it at 100 miles an hour. Anthony Gelling, only his 5th appearance of the year. The Cook Islander has just scored his 6th try of the year. Playing in the centres for the first time this year tonight, and he's gone in for the try that levels things up here at Warrington. Warrington 10, Wigan 10.
And another contentious issue. Did Farrell lose control of this? I think he does. Was it pulled away by Breers? It should have been a penalty anyway. But you've got to say that this was great play. This is a superb dummy. Watch it. Second phase, utilise Farrell as the dummy runner. Brett Hodgson, you very rarely see that from the experienced Australian. He takes it straight out of the pram. Boy, dive over. Gelling takes it. The Wigan fans go berserk. They're back in the game.
And having drawn 17 apiece in February, there's nothing in this one either at 10-all. And the Pat Richards kick to come to give Wigan the lead. And it would give Wigan the lead, of course, for the first time. Big kick this for Pat Richards. He got a goal for the Exiles here last Friday. Now then, Richards. This for the lead. Wigan have the lead. He's drawn it back over the bar. Warrington 10. 12, it's turned upside down.
Well, Wigan were putting similar players on in the first half, and they were creating overlaps as a result. But none of the overlaps in the first half resulted in points and tries. And here Wigan have learned the lesson. Brilliant transfer of the ball from the middle of the field wide out to the left. And Anthony Gelling, as you said, Eddie, in 6 months he's only played 5 games of rugby. Not just in Wigan first team, 5 games of rugby league, because unfortunately he's not been able to play in any of the reserve teams or second teams that Wigan have available to them. So he's done pretty well here when you consider he's hardly match practice.
Yes, overseas players cannot go out on dual registration because of visa qualifications. So he's bided his time, he's waited his chance. He's grabbed it with both hands here.
He certainly has, and he's grabbed it with style. I don't think I've ever seen a full-back take a dummy and do a need-to-swallow dive than what we saw from Brett Hodgson. It was an absolute Pete dummy.
Well, a brilliant start for Wigan in the second half. They began the first half in a similar vein, Eddie, and at half-time with the territory possession they'd had, we thought Wigan would have been level. In fact, at the moment, you'd expect them to be in front. They are marginally, and they really wanted to press on and extend that lead right now.
Well, in the past 3 2/3 seasons, we're watching the 2 most consistent sides in the competition as that charge down comes up in possession for Wigan, courtesy of Tompkins. You know, 23 tries between them before tonight. 233 tries, I beg your pardon. 233 tries scored between these 2 sides tonight. There is nothing between them at all. It's a measure of the defences that are on show here this evening, isn't it?
We should never tire of seeing tries of that quality like we've just witnessed from Anthony Gellings, and you really do have to give Chris Chewson a mention. Matty Smith, Sam Powell, Sam Tompkins. Their pass skill was absolutely exquisite. Wigan were a fraction off in the first half. Couple of loose kicks, couple of loose passes, and went 10-0 down.
Another set of 6 here from Wigan. Another set of 6 for Wigan, because that ball was played up. The pendulum has swung Wigan's way at the start of this second half.
Certainly has, and coming into the fore is Matty Smith. Had a pretty impressive first 40 minutes, but it's all Wigan now.
And that's Greg Burke underneath all that primrose yellow and blue. Logan Tompkins, short ball to Mossad.
I'll tell you what I've also seen, the way that Liam Farrell is being utilised more as a prop forward, just as a battle run.
Sam Powell gets it away to Smith. Smith then to Tompkins. Tompkins to Goulding. Great ball to Charnley. Great defence. It's still in play though. Charnley flung it back, flung it forward, and Warrington have got the ball back.
This is a wonderful example.
Richie Marler. Down he goes under the challenges. Crosby finished him off. Quick play the ball. Here comes Riley.
Good play by Riley as well. Sorted out, they have now.
Westwood will take it forward. Straight at Logan Tompkins. Great offload to Rashford. Even better to Paul Ward is all down.
Quick play, the ball is needed.
Michael Monaghan fires the ball. It's patted out wide. Here comes Waterhouse. Waterhouse out the back door to Myler. Myler then to Ben Curry. Logan Tompkins all round him. He brushes him away. Gets it away to Monaghan. Here is Wood. This is Westwood. This is champagne stuff. This now is Monaghan. Joel Monaghan. He goes down.
Scrambling defence. Getting to the rescue yet again.
Last tackle for Warrington. Crossfield kick from Breers.
It's a good one.
Claimed by Charnley. And Charnley is claimed by Atkins.
Mikey does not get any better than this. Absolute commitment from every single player on the park. There's not a blade of grass of the Halley Joel Jones that hasn't been stood on. Full length, full width, everybody involved, everybody giving 100%.
This is Sam Tompkins again. And Tompkins, the ball is lost backwards.
Play on.
Still play on. The referee now wipes the tackle, can't clear. Don Crosby.
A couple of Warrington players saw the whistle had gone, it was hanging around. Good job that Chris Hill got to it, it certainly was.
That was the 0 tackle, that's the first then, on Harrison Hansen.
Well, it was Warrington in the forwards in that first half that was taking control, getting over the advantage.
from Lee Briers.
But
was that a shoulder charge?
That should have been a penalty.
That was a shoulder charge.
They're keeping it going though, Wigan. Powell finds Matty Smith. Smith gets a short ball away to Sam Tompkins. He's grounded by Atkins.
This is brilliant stuff.
It's breathtaking. Mossop. He goes down on tackle number 4. Logan Tompkins in a dummy half. Looking left, looking right, going right. Finding Matty Smith. Smith then short ball to Harrison Hansen. Warrington under the cosh.
That'll be a good kick.
Matty Smith slides the kick in, bounces all over the place. Michael Monaghan to the rescue, and Mossop drops on him.
Yeah, but they won't mind, OK, they've lost possession, but they've got great field position of Wigan. And the way the forwards have come out in the second half, that's a shoulder charge, that should have been a penalty.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, honestly, if that's a penalty in our game, we should all pack in and start watching football. That was brilliant from Lee Briers. Liam Farrell can say that.
It's a
superb defence.
It's a penalty.
You're right, Ed, I get the point, but we want to see action, we want to see commitment. Lee Briers kept his elbows down. That was a full-blooded committing tackle.
But it was a penalty, Paul. It's banned. Sorry, it's banned. It's not allowed. Anyway, it wasn't a penalty because the referee didn't spot it. And he's probably in your corner, Paul Cullen. He must be. I know the point you're making.
This isn't netball, it really isn't.
I understand. And the passion out there on the field and up here in the commentary box. What a game. What a weekend. Castleford Hall, Friday, brilliant. This, up another level, and also brilliant.
You know, since the half-time break, Wigan have had far more of the ball than their opponents. Massively one-sided possession count since that rest after 40 minutes. And I think that they need to make some more point advantage here when they've had the ball here, because I think there'll be a shift in momentum, and the ball will end up with Warrington for a little bit. But at present, Wigan look red hot here in the ball.
Yes, Warrington are defending brilliantly, though. I know they've conceded the 12 points and they trail, but boy, any lesser team, it'd be all over by now. Here's the turnover. I think Wigan lost the count there.
Yeah, they certainly did, and he's not right there, Lee Briers.
Well, I think this is what boxers get, isn't it? They get irons on their face when they've been pummeled. Let's go down to Rod Starr.
Well, whether it was a shoulder charge or whether it wasn't, Eddie, Lee Briers has come off second best in that collision because he really has hurt himself during that incident. He's had to come off. We saw him with a nasty cut beneath the eye in the first period, but Warrington are now without their main string puller, Lee Briers, just when they need him most going into the final quarter.
And Mickey Hyam's out there, he'll start controlling. This is a good move, and there he does, he makes his presence felt. That's what they've missed, and they know that they're losing a good player in Briers.
And a worrying stat for Warrington, when Wigan got their only Super League win on this ground, Briers went off injured during that match as well. It was in 2010. Here's a towering bomb, claimed by Charnley.
Boy, hasn't he come to the rescue on a couple of occasions. He looks as though he's picked up an injury on the back. This has been ferocious. Not surprised that so many players are struggling. I mentioned that what was going to be left in the tackle probably just steer them to the victory. But this is a great move by, you'll have put back on field Mickey Hyam.
I think one team has had 18 days rest coming into this, the other has had 17. They'll only get this week to the weekend before they have to go round again. But it means so much to both these sides. If Wigan win, you can almost give them the League Leaders' Shield now, though Huddersfield will have a word to say about that.
Yeah, still a long way to go, not the best kick.
But Warrington will be 8 points adrift with 8 to go if they lose this, and that's why they're showing such desperation.
And what a big effort this fella's put in, Anthony Gelling.
Well, you know, when Wigan won the ball on the last set of possession and got tackled, handing over, I felt as though perhaps the bubble had burst maybe for them. They'd thrown everything that they had, and now Warrington set one of those rare opportunities. 6 tackles inside their opponent's half. This hasn't happened since we've had a rest. Well, the players have had a rest anyway, not many, not for very long here. But maybe it's a chance here for Warrington to score next.
Well, we're into the final quarter of the match, and Hyam just ran into the back of Greg Burke. And Hyam is in the mood against the club for whom he played 97 times.
He's the key, Eddie. He'll turn it around. He's got that ability.
Myler will slide the kick in. That ricocheted off for a leg or two. And look where Warrington turned the possession over to Sam Tompkins, right in his own goal line.
And it's so interesting now seeing how Warrington are trying to adapt offensively without Lee Braze. Michael Monaghan looks like he's dropped to the right edge. Mickey Hyam running from dummy half, and Simon Griggs playing in that midfield position as a loose forward. They're going to swap between it. There's not one definite role, I don't think, in that, and Warrington will have to learn to adapt on the run.
Lee Breers on the sideline. You know, this is, in many people's eyes, the grand final that got away 2012. If it is to be the grand final 2013, there'd be few complaints after this.
That's a much better kick. Turn him around. That gives you a good advantage. Look at the chase. It's good. Farrell's leading the way.
After Riley, one of the fastest men on the Warrington side, he gets to him. Ratchford scoops in at dummy half. And Ratchford comes down this short side, taking on Richards. Richards and Farrell with the tackle. That's two big efforts from Liam Farrell. Hodgson. Here's Westwood. Westwood just goes down on tackle number 3. This now Hill.
There's not a forward on either side, Eddie, that has not earned his coin tonight.
Hyam to Myler. Myler then long ball to Griggs. Short from Griggs to Ben Curry. He gets it back to Griggs. And Griggs looking to offload, but is enveloped by 2 Wigan defenders. Last one coming up here for the Warrington Wolves with Myler. He floats the kick into the middle. He knew where Joel Monaghan was. Gelling did well. Ball comes back to Tompkins, and Tompkins will try and return with interest. Great tackle, Griggs.
It certainly was. But he was so alert, wasn't he? He had to be as well. It's all about field position when you're playing full back, and Tompkins cleared away.
Burke will drive it forward.
Eddie, and this is now the 3rd set that Wigan have just started within 10 metres of their own try line. There's been a territorial shift, even if there hasn't been one on the scoreboard just yet.
Oh, that's great play. Here goes Dom Crosby. It's Crosby against Warrington. It's Crosby against Ratchford, and Ratchford gets to him.
That could be the break that turns the game entirely. He's had a big second half as Dom Crosby, that's for sure. That's all the forwards.
Matty Smith to Sam Tompkins. The kick is fumbled by Charnley, picked up by Ryan Atkins.
Well, there'll be no advantage. He'll put the scrum down for the first knock on. It was good, smart thinking by Sam Tompkins. He tried to take it up on the half volley, but what about the break from this fella? Big prop forward. Oh, wonderful. When you're under pressure, your own half, and you get a big young fella like this. Dom Crosby.
How good was that, Mike, from Dom Crosby? Couple of errors early on. His confidence could be a little bit rattled. He's done some great work. He's worked exceptionally hard in the middle of the field. He's carried every ball he possibly can, and he's going to make sure he finishes this game on a positive.
Yeah, Dom Crosby, he's done well every time he's been drafted in this year. This is only his 15th appearance of 2013. Went out on loan at Widnes in 2011. 13 appearances with Lee this year in the dual registration. Westwood lost that ball, but it went backwards.
He's trying to claim that it was knocked down by a Wigan player. This is where the tension, this is where you've got to utilise your common sense. And they have failed to do that. Richards cannot believe it.
Monaghan did well here.
But he held on to him. You can't afford to do that.
He begged the penalty. He begged the penalty off the referee, Stuart, didn't he?
Well, the problem is the ball's come loose. The referee's got to come up with a decision either way, and he's gone with the ball carrier on this occasion.
First Warrington penalty this half. Griggs grounded on tackle number 1. 8 metres inside his own half. Hyam fires the pass to the left to Myler. Myler goes short. Ben Curry. And Curry. The referee shouted hell, but the players can't hear him.
It's been good flat defence, though, hasn't it, by Wigan, this second half especially. Good play.
Mickey Hyam. Knock on.
Went backwards.
Oh, it went backwards, says the referee. Ratchford had packed it. No. Referee gets a call from the touch judge, James Child, on this near side. Knock on.
Oh, this is a big call.
Decision's gone. Let's move on.
Hit his foot. Which foot did it hit, though? Was it Gellings?
Tough calls, boys.
Yes, it was. It was Gelling's foot.
He's absolutely right, isn't he, Phil Bentham? This is a million miles an hour. How can he be expected to have a perfectly clear vision of every single thing that's going on at this pace?
James Child gave him the call, and he got it right.
Yeah, as soon as it touched the boot of Anthony Gelling. Michael Monaghan not impressed, but they've got to get the defence sorted out now.
This run was a shambles then.
It always is. This is where the kicking game comes to the fore now by Wigan.
And it also comes to the fore for Warrington, and Breers is, remember, off the field.
It's a great opportunity, isn't it, for Richie Myler to really cement himself as the big game player, the big caller for the Warrington Wolves. He'll be aided and abetted by Michael Monaghan playing outside on that right edge. He's 3 or 4 in on the right-hand side in defence. I'm sure he'll be a target out wide for the Wigan Warriors. He doesn't usually defend there. There may be some vulnerability, but Richie Myler can really stand up now in a massive game and dominate the calls for the Warrington Wolves.
Christian struggles to his feet. Matty Smith
has gone for position.
Played out, says the referee. That's played out, says the referee. This is going to be head and feet to Wigan.
He's got it right.
He's had a very good game, Phil Bentham. Don't you think, Stuart?
Absolutely. And this is one of our experienced referees, and he's been in many games of this nature. And it's important to get the players into the game, and we end up with a spectacle like this. So, well done to him.
Yes, there are 17 players either side, and there's a 35th man out there, and his name is Phil Bentham, and he's contributed to a classic match.
And so has that fella that's just been in the screen. He really has been here, there and everywhere, hasn't he, Matty Smith? Been creative, got through his defensive patterns.
Liam Farrell, as Wigan looks to try and put a real bit of daylight between them and Warrington. It's Sam Powell, Matty Smith, short ball. Jack Hughes is grounded. But Wigan inching ever closer to that Warrington line. Here's Chewson. Chewson's off to Wakefield next year.
It's patience needed now by Wigan.
Logan Tompkins.
Don't panic.
Farrell will bring it back into all the heavy traffic. But they are closer and closer still, 8 metres away. Sam Powell thought about the pass. In the end, gave the pass to Jack Hughes. And Jack Hughes is grounded on tackle number 5. So what does Matty Smith have in the locker here? A kick to the in-goal area. That's too long.
He'd be disappointed with that. I don't know whether he deliberately aimed for that post. It went pretty close, didn't it? Could have been created all sorts of problems. He knows this game's not finished, Sean Wayne. But he will be very pleased the way that the Wigan youngsters, especially in the forwards, they have really taken it to the opposition.
Here's Paul Wood, who started like a house on fire for his coach, Tony Smith. The other Smith who's dominating proceedings tonight, Matty Smith, though, I don't think I've seen him play as well for Wigan. He's having a great game.
He's been absolutely outstanding, and I think also aided and abetted by Logan Tompkins for the Wigan Warriors. I don't know whether he's had a breather yet. He looks like he's played every single minute. There's not many hookers who play the full term, and he looks like he's going to be asked to go all the way. He's just as big an influence on this game as his brother Sam.
But here come Warrington now with Hodgson. Although he is grounded on tackle number 5. Myler, he switched the direction of this attack with that diagonal run. A kick to the in-goal area, claimed by Charnley. Goal line dropout. Charnley jumped from the field of play.
Apply the pressure, but he has stood up to everything they've thrown at him. That's a wonderful take.
A wonderful take and another good call.
The kick is fantastic because it means that the player leaves from the field of play, catches the ball in goal, and therefore your team get the ball back at the highest level in the last 10 minutes. When your heart's beating faster than you'd like it to deliver that level of accuracy under pressure really is, well, the reason why he is playing at the highest point in his career here now. Fantastic kick, and here's Warrington, the goal line dropout.
And it's the first goal line dropout that Wigan have forced. Or rather, that Warrington have forced, should I say. Here's Myler, whose kick produced it. Gives it to Chris Hill, the big man, will take it forward.
I still just have the feeling that Mickey Hyam will prove to be the difference.
Wood. He's tackled. There is Mickey Hyam. He's in there at dummy half.
Who's got to settle down as Wood.
Myler with the ball to Atkins. Good on his feet. Atkins! Oh!
He's lost control in the action and wanted to go over the line. He cannot believe it. He looks at the touch judge and says, wasn't any interference on here? I don't think there was. Or was there? Yes, I think it was an arm that knocked it down.
It's Chris Towson, isn't it, coming from centre field. You'll see him come on the left-hand side of your screen here. His right arm comes over the top. That to me just looks like a legitimate tackle though.
No, it's gone directly for the ball carrier.
Perfect legitimate tackle. Towson's done superbly well. You must have a right to attack the ball carrier, attack anyone in that position to defend your line.
Calm down.
Well, you've obviously had a pill at half-time, Steve-O, because you've dropped down the levels a bit. Everyone else has gone up.
This has been knocked out. 2-on-1. No doubt in my mind. What say you, Stuart?
Well, I'm going against you, Steve-O. That was a good tackle, lost on impact.
Absolutely. And Stuart Cummings has the final say.
That'll make a change.
Well, you don't have to take any calls now in the morning, Stu. You're all right. You can sit back and watch this on your Sky Plus, because it's worth watching this match over and over again.
You might get a call from me, though.
He won't answer you.
Tompkins taking first receiver. That's good captaincy. He's controlling things out there.
Burke down on tackle number 5. So the kick here is going to be important. It's with Matty Smith, just outside the 40. And into the arms of Brett Hodgson on the fly.
Not being able to get through any gap, has he, tonight, Brett Hodgson?
This match is finely balanced. The next mistake could be so costly. The next penalty. It was 17-all in February. There's nothing to choose tonight, just the 2 points so far.
Great defence, though, by Wigan. They're moving up as a unit, not one coming out of the line. Talking to each other.
Griggs gets the ball away to Myler. He finds Atkins. Atkins to Riley. There's space for Riley. A dink over the top by Riley. The ball is knocked. And the ball comes up from Mickey Hyam. The try is given to Mickey Hyam. Somebody said Mickey Hyam will have a big say in the final outcome of this match. Riley's kick at pace was sensational, and Hyam, following up, has scored the try that just might win this for Warrington. But there's a long, long way to go yet.
There certainly is, but wonderful play by Chris Riley. The pass from Atkins, you could see that Charnley, but the kick from Riley was superb. He couldn't get there, but as every hooker that's worth his salt playing rugby league does one thing: while the ball goes out wide, you go down the middle. All the top quality hookers do this. They call it beat Johnny on the spot, and Mickey Hyam has sent the home crowd into absolute raptures. Riley with a beautifully placed kick. They had the numbers. They missed it. Charlie couldn't see it. Neither could Atkins. And the hooker said, give it to me.
Well, Mickey Hyam, he has had some fantastic moments in his career. And this is the 10th start for him in a row. And he's got a try in 4 of the last 6 coming into this as he rolls back the years. And is that the moment when Warrington win this match? Brett Hodgson with the conversion. Makes no mistake. It's 16 points to 12. The fat lady's warming up, but she ain't singing yet.
Well, I think the way that Wigan have apparently dominated the possession in the second half so far. It's a very similar setup to the first half, but I thought Wigan did very well to only be 10-0 down at half-time. I thought they had a moral victory in that. And then in the second half, where Wigan have had everything, Warrington have done very well, only to be 12-10 behind and concede those 2 tries. anything can still happen in this game. Players don't look tired, Eddie. They're just going to keep giving more and more.
Well, that's the view the referee had of the Mickey Heim try.
Yeah,
and we've got 5 minutes left.
He was in a good position, and I'm with you, Eddie. It's not often I praise the man with the whistle, but Phil Bentham has been top quality tonight.
Here's the try scorer, Iron. Up the middle he goes again, an important ankle tap still going. Short ball to Myler. Myler is tackled by Tompkins.
Tompkins stole it, he stole it, but he got it back.
Important little flick in the air by Charnley.
Almost a try, almost the match-winning try, I mean, in a line of play.
Yeah, I think that was to prevent one rather than score one, Phil.
But if he was able to gather it in,
yes.
I think there's a try and a game to Wigan.
I'm with you, Phil. I think he deliberately wanted to knock the ball away to prevent the try, but when it looped up into the air for a split second, he actually thought, I'm away, and so did these people.
Well, technically it's a penalty, isn't it, Stuart?
Well, it could be, but it's very similar to the one that Lee Braze did in the first half, where the ball just popped up and he managed to get it back. So I suppose it's where the deflection goes. Does it go up or does it go down?
Well, Warrington scrum. Here's a chance for them to put the game to bed. Atkins, right underneath the Wigan sticks. Mickey Hyam, he's played a big part. And here is Wood, who has played an equally big part. He shouted held.
He'll have to play it again, but the message from Tony Smith said, come on, Mr. Wood, what on earth are you thinking about? We're in the lead. We're not the team panicking, trying to make up the deficit.
So they go left with Griggs. And Griggs saw the line and went for it. That's 3 gone. Hyam, short ball, it's Chris Hill! It's a try for Chris Hill! And I think Ian Smith with another decision to make. But Warrington are celebrating like they've won at Old Trafford. Never mind, they've won here against Wigan. And if this is given the green light, Warrington have won a famous victory.
Good offload. And you can see they came out of the line there. They tried their damnedest. Nothing wrong with that as far. What a wonderful position by the official Bentham.
Well, it makes you think he might have seen something in there that where the ball comes loose, because he's in a really good position. I know it sort of bobbles as it goes down, but I don't think there'll be anything wrong with this grounding.
I think this will be given.
And maybe because it was so close and on the line, he just checked it wasn't short, maybe. It's going to be given. Listen to this crowd now. The race for the league leaders' shield is alive. They've shown some character tonight. They really have. And it's a testament to both sides.
You can see Charlie. He knew when it bubbled up in the air. He took a huge gamble. And this will stay in the memory of the big fella, Chris Hill, for many, many a day. And so will the fans. Jubilation in a game in the second half where Wigan had total control up until about 7 minutes ago.
Yes, we got into the last 10 minutes and the game slipped away from Wigan. And it's 22 points to 12 in Warrington's favour. The Wigan hoodoo on this ground has struck again.
Just held it up. Nothing that Berg could do about it. Such a tall person.
One of the most conversions sponsored by Game 1 minute in the scorer, number 1, Brett Hodgson.
Going for the short one, which is no surprise. That was touched by Richard. This should be head and feed. This will be head and feed to the Warrington outfit. Yeah, Richards definitely just got the touch to it. Quite clear.
Well, when you look back at this match, you will know, when you look at the stats, the 2 players whose careers began at Lee, Mickey Hyam and Chris Hill, have put Wigan to the sword in the last 7 minutes of this game. Into the last 2 minutes. Warrington not going to settle for this. They will go looking for more in this set of 6.
You've got to praise the way that they've been patient as Warrington. They were being hammered in the opening 25 minutes of this second half. It looked as though they'd taken control. They took the lead at 12 points to 10 when the Gelling try. But in the space of 5 or 6 minutes, it's all turned around.
Great offload from Atkins to Chris Riley.
I think psychologically as well, Eddie, when Lee Braze left the field, I think the Warrington players knew they had to step up. Richie Myler certainly did. I thought Simon Griggs did in terms of control and management of the Warrington shape. And the man more than anyone else was Mickey Hyam. Ran from dummy half. There's less risk in that than anything else and caused Wigan all sorts of problems.
Well, I'm not happy Tony Smith with the kick from Richie Myler, but I think it feel pretty safe that those vital 2 points.
Well, he'll be disappointed, Sean Wayne. He was heartbroken. He couldn't bring his first choice team to Warrington tonight, but well, Waterhouse and Breers with the scars of battle, despite the fact that they are shorn of several stars, Wigan have let nobody down, and they've certainly not let us down, and neither have Warrington. This has been a terrific game.
There has not been one poor player out there tonight. It's been wonderful. Listen to the crowd counting down.
And surely Chris Riley will just boot the ball out, which he does. Warrington have won a titanic tussle. The players, how on earth they will sleep tonight, I don't know. How on earth they will recover from this, I don't know. Because that was grit, guts and determination from start to finish.
We had a 17-all draw when they met earlier in the year. We've had an equally compelling contest here today. I can't wait, Eddie, for them to meet again. Whoever that will be in the Super League, be it in the playoffs or possibly the grand final. And it's a must-see event. You have to clear your diary and get along to see this.
Absolutely, a tremendous game, a fantastic advert for the Super League, and I bet you £1 million that John Wells will not disagree.
Absolutely fantastic game, Eddie. Wigan scored first, though, in that second half. Let's remind ourselves, question of obstruction here to answer. Hansen crucially through the line. Myler we've circled. I think he takes a wrong line by sinking into Hansen. Waterhouse is nudged, but Hansen cannot disappear. We know that much. Once in Tompkins' hands, still plenty to do. Makes it look so easy, though. 10 points to 6. Wigan sensing something here. Harrison Hansen doing his best to make that point very clearly to Adrian Moyley. Michael Monaghan with the error at the ruck. Wigan back in possession. Warrington then came up with their first technical error. 4 on the short side, 2 on the short side for Wigan. All Wigan's danger men. Smith, Powell, Tompkins, all in that white circle. The pass from Tompkins here is an absolute cracker. And Anthony Gelling dummies his way over. Wigan take the lead here, 49 minutes for the first time. Wigan providing the grunt and athleticism in the middle now. Dom Crosby powering his way through this attempted tackle, charging upfield. And from this tackle, Wigan spread the ball to their right-hand side to a scattered Warrington defence. But crucially, they couldn't capitalise as Tompkins' kick and the bounce elude Josh Charnley. All the momentum with the Warriors as we approach the final 10 minutes. So full credit to Richie Myler for this play. The game breaker for me. The kick is accurate as it was impromptu. The take wasn't too shabby either from Charnley, but they were under pressure. The swingometer now with the Wolves. And as Atkins broke Myler and Hansen and honed it on the line and glory, Chris Towson clattered to dislodge the ball in the tackle, but in a nerve-shredding, spine-tingling, eyebrow-raising, back-straightening play down that left flank, Warrington cut loose. Richie Myler created the overlap from the inside. Atkins, Riley, the kick was perfect. And as everyone crumbled in a heap, Mickey Hyam screamed through to ground the ball 16-12. And try-scorer Hyam provided the coup de grace and the final pass to Chris Hill. Greg Burke starting position 2 wide. He comes in, Chris Hill scores, 22 points to 12 full-time. What an absolute cracker. What an absolute cracker of a game. The Heinz big man of the match, if we can pick one, is talking to Rod.
Thanks, John. Mickey Hyam is the man of the match. Mickey, have a bottle of champagne that will taste sweet for you tonight. What a game. What a performance by Warrington. Just tell us how exhilarating that was to play in.
Yeah, great game. These are games you want to play in. Two good teams. You know, Wigan, rightly so, they've been the most consistent, but they come up against a determined Warrington side tonight, and you know, just how we clung in there. Wigan got on a roll, and when they do that, they're difficult to stop. But we managed to turn the screw again, and luckily, well, not luckily, but a bit of hard work, and it paid off, and we got the win in the end.
You were just watching your try on the big screen. You appeared like Usain Bolt. The difference is that Bolt hasn't been battered from pillar to post by Wigan players when he's running at that pace.
No, I nearly stopped, and I thought, you know, if I stop here, Tony will show it in video and give me a right rollicking. So I thought I pushed up, and again, play every play, and you never know what happens. Unfortunately, ball bounced away from, I think it was Sam or somebody, and I saw it there, so I died on it. I thought it was a pound coin.
Great moment. Listen, there's £100 also, never mind a pound coin, to give to charity. Where will you send that for us, Mickey?
I'll split it half and half. John and Jack 50 and a step closer to me from a little lad, Steps charity. Bibbers with ball with club foot, so half and half.
Lovely. Well done, Mickey. Thanks for talking to us. Appreciate it. Richie Marler's here as well. Richie, a tremendous performance. Listen, when Lee Breers went off, the question marks were asked, is that can Richie Marler now step up to run this game? You did step up. Just how pleased were you with your own performance in the last 20?
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be such a tough test against Wigan, like they're flying this year, and what a game of rugby league we just had. I mean, that 20 minutes after half-time was like, it went like that, but tell you what, it was fast. Wigan are a great side with players like Sam Tuggs in the team. It's going to be hard to stop him with the plays they do, but no, I thought we stood up, and like Mickey Hyam had an absolutely outstanding second half and led us from the front, and it helped that we got over the line.
How significant a win do you think that is? It closes the gap to 4 on Wigan, but closes right up on second place Huddersfield also.
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty close at the top. I mean, Wigan have been very consistent throughout the year, and rightly so, the word is stand. So we've been improving the last couple of weeks and had a couple of blowout scores. But I mean, this is a game you want to play in. This is what you love to play in. So a game of rugby league like that's been fantastic.
Thanks for talking to us, Richie. Appreciate it. Let's bring the man you were talking about, Sam Tompkins. Sam almost captained a very young Wigan side to a highly significant win. Just sum up what went wrong in the last few minutes, because you really bossed that second half. It was a tremendous second half performance by Wigan.
Yeah, it was. I think, you know, that 20 minutes after half time was you know, real intense, and I think it was in the balance, could have gone anywhere, but you know, unfortunately throws a couple of bounces to the ball and they get over.
I know there are other good sides in this competition, but that was so intense, so quick, so dramatic, so tough. It had the air of a grand final preview. Do you think that will be the grand final?
Very possibly. I think, you know, there's a few weeks left yet, but you know, they're the kind of games I think people want to see, and certainly games that we want to play in. You know, you don't want to play in games where you're winning by 50 or whatever. They're the intense matches we need, and you know, today it was certainly, like you said, you know, sort of grand final feeling.
That's a very quick one. All the papers in New Zealand say you've signed for New Zealand Warriors. Is that true now?
Yeah, I'm a Wigan player, and I don't want to talk about that after a game like that.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. Right, let's bring Tony Smith in. Tony, tremendous performance, because you looked beaten really with 6-7 minutes to go, didn't you? I mean, it looked like they'd come back superbly and nailed it down. Just tell us about the last 5 or 6 minutes from the Warrington coach's point of view.
Yeah, I didn't think we looked beaten at any stage. I thought it was a great game of rugby league that either team could have won, and you know, fortunately it was us. They had enough ball to win 14 games of rugby league. We had to do a lot of tackling in that game, and but it wasn't error strewn. It wasn't a case of us making a lot of errors or them making, you know, a few errors. It was a case of back-to-back sets of 6. I think they kicked a little better than us and got some rebounded kicks, and, you know, things bounced their way for a while. But I thought the game was very much in the mix right up till the death.
I know you don't look at the league table, so I'll let you know what it is. You're now 4 points behind Wigan, and you're now just behind Huddersfield, a point behind. The other teams, is that the level that you've just put up there, Warrington and Wigan, that they're going to have to match if they want to win a grand final?
I don't know about winning grand finals, but that's the sort of state our league should be in. They're the sort of standards our league should be played at, you know, each and every week, and that's what we're all striving for, you know, to play to those levels. So I thought it was a great advert for rugby league, you know, great on a Monday night. I've got to say, Wigan were terrific with the amount of players they got missing. We've gone through patches this year of similar sort of injury lists, and you know, it's credit to their squad, it's credit to our squad to be able to handle that and still be up, you know, around near the top of the table. They're still on top of the table, so, you know, they've handled it a little better than us, but yeah, it should be a good end of the season, I think.
Hope so, sure it will be. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Saunders.
Thank you.
Well, if it's like that, it will be a brilliant end to the season. A third of the season remaining. 9 wins in the last 10 in the league and cup for Warrington now, and Wigan's 13-match winning run in the league and cup has been halted in front of 14,000 and no doubt countless more around the country, live here on Sky Sports tonight. You know, Mickey Hyam taking the Man of the Match award. Aren't we blessed with some hookers in this game? Roby, Lunt, Houghton, now add Mickey Hyam to that list. And Warrington keep the League Leaders Shield race alive.
Cars on the grid. Formula One comes home. Away we go at Silverstone. To your home of Formula One. Oh, that was great. Follow the whole race weekend live. Brilliant action. Around the outside of Brooklands. Great job. That was a beautiful move. And into the lead. It's another win. The British Grand Prix, sponsored by Rolex and Shell. Every race live on Sky Sports F1 HD.
I travel each
and every highway,
and more, much more than this. I live my way.
Simon Baker wrote, usual suspects in the tennis final, Paddy? Oh, we hear you, Simon. But don't ask us. Ask Pigeon Eye. Pigeon Eye knows everything.